So we've just done the PTE and we are just sitting outside of the PTE testing office in Melbourne. And how'd you go?
It was hard. It was harder than I expected.
Yeah.
It was intense.
Yeah, it was intense. It was intellectually intense, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very, very intense. Just briefly, how'd you go in each section?
The speaking was actually probably the most difficult.
Right.
And I think it was because you could hear other people speaking. It was a little bit like being on a busy tram or something. You just had to focus on your own part.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I found it hard to concentrate, and I also ran out of things to say, and I had issues with describe image.
Right. All right. We'll get to each one later on. We'll go through each of the different tasks. I personally had issues with reading. With reading. Multiple choice, choose multiple answers. You know how many answers I chose? One.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I thought, oh my God. Talk me through what happened when you walked into the actual centre, like what actually takes place for people who have never taken a PTE before.
Yeah, so you walk in and you have to take a number and you have to read the PTE rules quite carefully. You have to turn off your phone and any electronics you have. Then once you've done that, you have to go talk to the people at the front who are very nice, very friendly.
Can you cheat?
You can't cheat.
You definitely can't cheat.
If you're thinking about cheating, don't do it because you can't. There's no way you can cheat.
No way.
Literally, they made me take off like my elastic band. They made you take off your watch.
Yep.
There was no option for cheating.
Yep.
And then you have to do like a palm read to prove who you are. You have to show your passport, so make sure you bring your passport. And then you get sort of shuttled down into the hall and you get an explanation of how the test will work. And
it's quite fast though, isn't it, that explanation?
Yes, it's quite quick. So if you don't understand something with the explanation, it's better to go and like read it in the actual testing room as well.
Yep. On the computer screen, they say they have the rules and how the test will work. So if you're unsure, you can actually look at the computer screen and read that, which is good. The people were very friendly, I must say. It was a nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
They wished me good luck, which I really liked.
Yes.
I thought that was good. I needed it.
Me too.
I needed it. Anything else from just the general experience?
I think that's it.
Did you take a break?
I didn't take a break, but I could have. I just wanted to get it done, but like if you feel like you need a break, definitely take it.
I reckon take a break. I didn't, but by the end I was quite dehydrated actually.
Yeah.
And I think that gap between reading and listening would be a good time to take 10 minutes, chill out, have a drink.
Yes.
The erasable noteboard booklet that
yes,
we've
I was
wondered
curious about that. So I thought it would be like a high tech, like you can erase with like some technology.
It's not digital.
No, it's just it's a booklet where you can write on it with a pen that's erasable. You can't actually erase anything though, so.
That's right, it's not erasable.
You can't physically erase anything. You have to take up all the space, and if you need more space, somebody will bring you.
Did you use it?
I did, but I didn't use all the space. There's quite a lot of space.
But I found it very, very helpful
Yeah.
to write down ideas.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through each of the different tasks.
Okay.
We'll start with read aloud. How was read aloud for you?
Read aloud was okay.
Yep.
It was good because in the time that I had before the recording started, I could read the sentence and figure out where the pauses were and the intonation quite quickly. So that was good. What about you?
Yep, same. Mind you, because I didn't sleep very well last night, I couldn't concentrate that well, and I would sort of start to think about, isn't it a lovely day? And then like, I'm in an exam. So I really had to focus, and definitely use that 40 seconds, I think it is, to read through the paragraph once, get a feel for the way you should say it, the pausing, the intonation, the tricky words, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. But for me, it was fine. The other thing I found with read aloud was I used hand gestures. I actually read like I was really reading it like it was a speech.
Yes.
Yeah? Did you do that?
I did that too, yeah. It was easier to read it as if I were almost like acting it out.
Yes.
So that I would use the intonation naturally rather than acting like a robot.
That's right. Yep, me too. That was very important. Repeat sentence.
Yeah, that one was okay. A lot of the sentences were short, so that was good. But on the more complex ones, sometimes I would miss the last word.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? Did you find it?
Good. I found repeat sentence to be easier, shorter than I expected. But mind you, I really listened. I closed my eyes. I really listened.
That's a good tip, to close your eyes, and so you're not looking at the screen and getting distracted.
One thing I should say is the tasks jump from one task to the other
Quite quickly.
You're doing read aloud, and then all of a sudden you're doing repeat sentence.
Yeah.
Without knowledge of how this test works, there's no way you would do well.
That's true.
Describe image.
Okay, that was my worst one. It was bad because I think it's important to know that a lot of the described images are graphs, and if you don't know how to read a graph, or you're unsure about how to read a graph, you should really look into learning how to do that, because I had difficulty figuring out the graph in time to describe it, and then I got very confused. So make sure you know the x-axis, the y-axis.
Mainly bar graphs? Did you
Yeah,
get?
bar graphs and line graphs, which are a little bit more complex. You have to really pay attention to the units.
Any comparison ones did you have?
Yeah. But those were the bar graphs in general.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also had a process one as well.
Yes.
You had a process one?
That one was the easiest for me because I could see it laid out. But just make sure, like, if you're not in science, make sure that you know what a graph looks like.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I did all right on the describe image because I used the E2 language method of title, x-axis, main trends, conclusion. Boom. I just use that every time.
Good call.
Yeah, and why didn't you study? No, I'm just joking.
That was like the one I thought I would have no problem with.
Retelling the lecture.
Yeah, that one was all right. It was hard to like get all the points in there.
Yeah.
I should have written on the erasable noteboard booklet for that one, but I didn't.
Ooh,
but I regret that.
Yep, I did. I jotted down little notes to remind myself what to say when I retold the lecture. I can't really remember that one. It's not that familiar to me. Answer short question.
What was that one again?
You know when they ask you a little question, you've got to give a 1 word or 2 word response?
Yes, actually, I almost messed up that one because I almost gave too many answers, too many words, because I didn't read the instructions and I was confused about which part it was. So that goes back to like understanding the format, knowing which part's coming next, or reading the instructions.
Yeah.
But other than that, once I got in the groove, it was very easy.
I hate to say this, but the guy next to me, I could hear him answering the short questions in sentences. And not only in sentences, but going on, and I was thinking,
1 or 2 words is enough.
1 or 2 words, done.
Yeah.
And then we move on to write. So that's the end of speaking. Then we moved on to writing, where you summarize written text into a single sentence. How many words did you write?
So I wrote almost up to 70 every time.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, which was the maximum. But
did you keep them grammatical? Was that hard?
It was hard to keep them grammatical because they would have done better with a period, but then I had to make it a comma or a semicolon, and I wasn't very proud of them, to be fair.
You know what I did? I reckon this is a key tip for summarized written text. I wrote 32 words and 31 words, and that's it. I thought, you know what, better to be safe and have a grammatical sentence than have a long sentence that possibly
isn't grammatically
correct.
That's smart.
So we'll see what happens there. That'll be interesting. Essay.
The essay I did well on because the question really like resonated with me, and so I could use my own personal experience. It was an opinion, so that made the writing flow faster. But
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say if I didn't connect to the topic, maybe it would have been a bit short on time because I would have had to think about what my opinion was and then write it out.
This is what happened to me in the essay. I got the prompt. It was fine. It was relevant to me. I started writing, and I got about 5 minutes in, and I realized I didn't have a structure. So I deleted the whole thing. I got out my noteboard booklet, and I did a little brainstorm, got the main ideas, and then thought about introduction, body, conclusion, then wrote it again. Much better.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I did that too. I did like introduction, my 2 points, and my conclusion.
Yep, that works well. You need a structure for the essay.
It doesn't matter if it's just like whatever structure it is, as long as it's something that makes sense in terms of logic.
Yeah, that's right. And they should be argumentative. So mine was, I won't talk about the content, but I argued a point. Yeah. Reading, this one got me. Multiple choice. Choose single answer, multiple choice, choose multiple answers. I don't know whether I screwed this up or not. I'm pretty sure that I just was choosing one answer for the multiple answers. So if my reading scores are low, it's because I didn't understand the format of the test.
Yeah.
Not my brain. It's got nothing to do with my brain.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Reading, how'd you go with? It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard because you have to read a lot, but then you're only picking out like detailed information, and some of the information you might read isn't relevant. So you should really scan for keywords. So read the question first, scan for the keywords, and then you might save some time on not reading irrelevant information and just pick out
Yep.
the sort of relevant part. So that was good. It took a lot of brain energy, but I found that it was pretty straightforward if you were focused.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, tough content. This test is, yes, it's a language test, but it's as much a test of content.
Yes.
Vocabulary is massive in this.
Huge.
Massive. If your vocabulary is small,
Yeah.
grammar, vocabulary probably more so than grammar in some ways, because when we move on to fill in the blanks, with the drop-down lists,
Yeah.
collocations, like grammar, word pairs, yeah,
definitely.
I didn't find those hard because being a native speaker, I know all the collocations.
Yeah. They're more natural for native speakers.
What about reorder paragraphs?
That was pretty easy, I think. Yeah, I think I did fine with that. Just logically thought about like what's a connector and what's a concluding sentence.
I was genuinely confused with one of them. I may have not got one of them correct. So again, my reading might not be great. Right, listening.
Yes.
So I would have taken the 10-minute break, but I didn't, and I probably regret it because I became
Take
a bit.
the break.
Yeah, I became a bit.
Needed water really badly.
Yeah, I needed to have a drink and just get
But
some
one thing to
fresh
note
air.
is that if you do take the break, you have to leave the room. You can't stay there at all. And so if you think you might like break your focus or something, then just stay and don't take the break.
Yeah. Listening, summarizing the spoken text. So you listen to the person giving a lecture or a discussion or a radio interview, and then you have to sort of write 70 words.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
It was mostly good. It was hard to write down everything as fast as the speaker was saying it, and I think what it would have been better is if I had just listened with my eyes closed, then made some notes about it. You have enough time to do that, and then written down what I needed to write, because I was too busy trying to catch everything, so I was losing some of the content by not paying attention.
You know, and in this one, summarized spoken text, I didn't write beautiful sentences. I just wrote very short, sharp sentences that led on from each other, but hopefully summarized the main points. I didn't worry too much about writing long sentences, just clarity. Multiple choice, that required a bit of thinking, absolutely. Deductive reasoning, they call it. Looking at the four answers and going, not that one, not that one, not that one, must be that
this one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That helped.
Definitely.
Fill in the blanks. Can you remember that one?
Yes, that one was pretty easy for a native speaker, I think, because we know what words sort of fit the best. Because a lot of the words were very similar, and some of them even had the same meaning, but one word just fit better. So you really have to have a good grasp of vocabulary and know when it's appropriate. Exactly, collocation.
Collocations.
Knowing
massive.
when words go together.
Highlight the correct summary. That was, you hear somebody talking and then you have to, I found that pretty easy, but as you found, you had to wait until you found out what the lecture was about, right?
Yes. Instead of trying to read them while you were listening, it's better to just listen to it and then be like, okay, well, she didn't mention that at all, so take that one out, and then do the deductive reasoning thing. Some of them were tricky because they would use a lot of the same keywords that the speaker said, but they would be, the opposite of what she was actually saying, just using some of the same words. So it'd be, you really have to make sure that you're not just looking for words, that you're actually reading the content.
They purposely try to mislead you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have, Select missing word is the one where somebody speaks, and then beep, and you have to one word or a couple of words. I did the old looking out the window thinking, oh, isn't it a beautiful day? Beep!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And then somehow thought, okay, that's the answer, but there's no way to guess. You have
No,
to understand the
listen.
whole thing, don't you?
Yeah, but I made that mistake too of like at the beginning, it went on for a while before you get to the end, so I just wasn't listening to the beginning. But then it hit me in the end that, oh shoot, I really got to pay attention.
Yeah, beginning to end.
Yeah.
To select missing
You
word.
have to listen from the beginning. Can't look out the window.
And then highlight incorrect words. You know, it jumps between tasks. You're not sure how many you get, and then all of a sudden it's the one where you have to click on the word. So you have to be you have to understand how this test works, don't you? Because when it jumps to that one, you need to have your mouse ready to click, 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 because it's a totally different task. And yeah, definitely understanding the test format is massive. Was that easy for you, highlighting incorrect words?
Yes. Yeah, it was actually pretty easy, except for one where I was not paying attention right away, and then I missed the first sentence, so I think I only got every one after that. So
Right.
again.
Right. Right from dictation, the final one. Now, the time's ticking down. How did you go with time management, actually? You were okay?
I was okay,
Just
yeah.
worked steadily through each one, didn't get stuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I tried not to overthink stuff too much because I knew that you aren't given a set amount of time for each task. You're given a set amount of time for the whole section. So you really have to keep an eye on it, but not get stressed. So just
Not get stressed, that's right.
But
that's
it's
right.
hard not to when you see a clock ticking down.
I think being aware of how many tasks
There are.
would help with time management.
Sometimes you do.
yeah.
Like sometimes you can see that you're on like 3 out of 17, but sometimes
Right.
it just says 1 out of 1 because there's only one type of task in that section. So
Mm.
you don't know how far along you are.
Yep.
But it is good to just check up there and see what the time is,
Yep.
what task you're on.
Now, the last one, right from dictation, I used the Noteboard booklet and I jotted down the words as they're going, and then you have time to then put them in. Did you do that?
No, I actually just typed it in right as I heard it.
Yeah?
And that worked only because they weren't that long. So
Okay.
I had time. But then I would like recheck it for grammar afterwards and spelling and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to check.
But I think you could do
spelling.
either way because if you've got the time, like write it by hand because it's more natural maybe, and then type it.
Yeah. Yeah, either way worked. My handwriting's so messy sometimes that I couldn't actually read the words that I'd written, so that was a problem.
Well,
All right, so that was it. One thing that I want to stress is that, and I'm going to look into the camera and say this, the PTE is fundamentally a language test, isn't it? It is a
Yeah.
language test. People worry about test format. It's a part of it, but without the fundamental skills,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a language test, English language test.
yeah.
Right? Grammar, vocabulary is huge. You know, written discourse, structuring. But related to vocabulary is content, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It helps to have an understanding of the content, like the essay prompt, or if the lecturer is speaking about global warming, it helps to read. If you have an understanding of the actual content, you know the vocabulary, you can actually sometimes get the answer just by knowing the content. For example,
Yes.
there was one on nutrition, and I actually just knew the answer. But
Yeah.
you know, that's not going to happen often.
No, and you
Right.
don't have to know about any of the subjects. You just have to be able to use logic, reasoning in terms of
Yeah.
what words
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
I mean,
that's
it is nice if you know something about that
Helps.
subject, but don't worry, like you don't have to be super educated on every subject.
Yep. And the last thing is, it's a test of you need to understand the format of the test. The format is huge. Yes, it's a language test. Yes, it's a content test. But the format, the way in which this test works is different. It's computer-based. It just moves and you have to go with it. And yeah, especially those transitions between tasks. It just goes from repeat sentence to the next one, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, you need to know this stuff. What would you recommend for preparation? We spoke to some people who were quite worried and scared in there, right?
Yes, yeah. I would say like it's good to prepare on your own, but it's equally good to have somebody with you who can practice with you, whether it's like a tutor, like we have at E2 Language, or a friend or whatever, just somebody else who can give you feedback, who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
helps so much. Like even just
Enormous.
practicing with you helped me. So,
Yeah.
and I'm a native speaker. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just really knowing exactly what comes next and how many of each task you have to do, because we were saying before that even a native speaker could fail the test by just not knowing what's going on in the test.
Sure.
So, what would you recommend?
Look, you know, I've spoken to a lot of students about confidence, and they want confidence, but you know, and they look for confidence. And I don't think they understand that confidence comes from knowledge and ability. And when you're knowledgeable and you're able to do it, when your vocabulary is big enough that no words confuse you and your grammar's fine so you can write sentences, I mean, that's where confidence comes from, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of people take this test and fail it, which, you know.
A lot of people that were in there, actually all of them that I talked to, it was their second time or third time doing the test. And a lot of them said that the first time they just sort of went in to see what it was like and they didn't prepare.
That's funny, isn't it? Because ptepractice.com gives you a full practice test.
Yeah.
And yet then people don't prepare. They don't get one-on-one tutorials or join the webinars that E2 Language gives, for example. And
or even just like watch our YouTube videos.
Sure.
Just to get an idea.
Did they help?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Even just like being in them helped me.
Yeah. At one point I was sort of freaking out and I thought, hold on, Jared, you made a video on this. I thought, yes, that's what I've got to do. Use me. So it helped. Definitely preparation is key to all of this. And if you're going to pass, if you want to get a high score, it's about doing the hard work.
Yeah.
There's no easy way to do this.
And study. Don't ever just go in thinking that you know what you're talking. Like, even if you're a native speaker, you couldn't go in and know what you're talking about and get a great score, unless you're like a genius. So just don't be afraid to do the hard work before you go in, so that you're prepared and you don't have to worry about paying another, $300+.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do the preparation. Do the hard work.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
That
Good
was
experience?
really hard.
Good experience though?
Yeah, but it's going to be embarrassing if I get a bad score and then university doesn't let me in.
My reading scores? Oh my god.
I think my speaking will be my worst.
Anyway, you guys will find out what scores we get soon in the next episode. So, cool. Thanks.
Thanks.